following is a special presentation. From the Captain eSports Network.
This isn't just a game. This is iRacing. Well, after the Thanksgiving holiday off, we are back at it again here tonight in the Masters of the Draft in the National Association for Stock Car Virtual Racing as we get ready to go from the World Center of Racing for the second time in the 3 races of the 87's. Well, the difference, though, is we're going to hit the time machine and go back to 2010, the time where this track was not really thought about to be repaved. And then in the 2010 Daytona 500, the weather was very cold, and a track decided to create potholes. And that track became the Daytona International Speedway, turn 1 and 2 to be specific. A pothole was created. They red flagged the race for a while, got going, and a second pothole created. From that point forward, Daytona repaved the track, and that modern track is the one we race mostly on iRacing now. Tonight, we go back to that track that we used to race, the one with the bumps, the one without the lights, even though there's lights, and the one that some people call a favorite here in this 87 car, as we welcome you to Legacy Daytona as we get ready to go for race number 3 of the Sveta Track Masters of the Draft series here in the 87's block. As we look at the schedule, of course, after that week off we had for Thanksgiving, we sit in the 3rd series right now of the racing schedule here. Daytona, iRacing Super Speedway, the 07 Daytona in Talladega to finish it out next week before we go on a little Christmas break with an all-star race there in between. But that is where we sit right now as we go into race number 3 here tonight. And of course, with the way the setup is here for this session here in the National Association for Stock Car Virtual Racing, well, at this point we go into qualifying right away. And of course, our qualifying is presented by Vivid EV as they sponsor the Pole Award. These cars are going to get out here and get on track on this 2.5 mile, 31 degree banked, as I mentioned, very bumpy. A track at this point was repaved back in, if I remember correctly, it was, I know 79 it was repaved, but I think it was repaved one other time between then and 2011, but unfortunately I don't have that knowledge to my head. I could probably go look it up real quick. But this, of course, the track that had all the bumps in it all the way up till 2010 before it was repaved into what it is now. So you got all those bumps over in turn 1 and 2 that are tricky, and that's going to create a little bit of a different style race. You're not going to see the cars handle that well here. You see the car's porpoise over the bumps there as you're looking at the 9 right now of Sam Taylor. And because of that, you're going to see handling come into play. You're going to see a car that really can't go 3 wide too much through the corners. And you might even see some drivers drive it like a speedway, as we talked about in the first Daytona race, except that track was a lot more smoother than this one is. So you're not going to, I think, see the smooth speeds that you saw back in this race a couple weeks ago, but you are going to see, I think, handling come into play. You're going to see some fantastic racing, as we've been seeing here in this 87 car, and who knows, we might even see what we saw in the race a couple weeks ago, and that be a race with only 2 cautions in the whole way through that 250-mile race. Now, tonight also a 200-mile race to be exact, so a little bit shorter distance as we watch the 34 car now of Tommy Rogers as he's on track. Some cool looking paint schemes, I have to say. As Taylor right now pole sitter 44.3, that's a little over 201, 202 miles an hour or so. As Josh McKinney crosses the line, the 24 car Drift, who's been fast in practice, 44.31. Andrew Moore, 21, he goes to the pole. As the speeds start to pick up now at this second lap. Shane Ward, who's third in points, we'll talk about that here in a minute. He qualifies P2 as of right now. Evan Perry to fourth. Daryl Johnson to third. Here comes Jason Branch, who won the pole at iRacing Super Speedway. As he crosses the line ninth. Pickle Simmer up to second. Some good lap times being laid down here. Of course, everybody does have to run 2 lap times. Scott Wise up to 4th. Eddie Royalty up to 7th. Travis Gilbert up to 12th. Shiflett, Steve Melnick there, 21st now. Derek Jacobs, 2 cars left to go. Brady Kurowski and Brian Hayes, the only 2 not to get a lap in here so far. We're still on the pole right now as we look at Brian Hayes in that 47 car. Was it Big Deborah or Older Deborah or something like that, making a kind of imposter of the Little Debbie's lady. I don't know. As a man who's grown up with Little Debbie Swiss cake rolls, I don't know if I should be offended by a Big Deborah car or not. I'm still trying to debate this one out. As here's Big Deborah across the line with the Christmas tree cakes. Up to the 12th position. And at least 1 car left to qualify. Brady Kurowski's not going to get it in. So Andrew Moore going to win the Vivid EV Pole Award with a 44.21. Great lap there. Nowhere near the track record in these 87 cars. But in fairness, the track record was back in 1987 in a car that had a little bit smoother of a track to go 210 miles an hour as Bill Elliott did around this 2.5-mile speedway. As we get you ready now for the pre-race show here from the Legacy Daytona International Speedway. Let's kind of review back to iRacing Super Speedway, a race won by Travis Gilbert, and Travis has got himself the point lead going into. I think I got the points mixed up here a little bit here. Let's get this one right, but he leads in the '87 standings, which I must have saved them twice accidentally here. So stand by one quick second. I had them saved, but I think I have accidentally saved the overall points over in the 87 points. So just stand by 1 second. I'll get those for you. But I promise you this, Travis Gilbert does lead the points over in the 87 cars. And it's by a very tight margin over Joe Wells. And then Shane Ward is right there with him. 7 points back in the points. There it is. Quentin Clark, 28 back there after his win in the original Daytona race. Greg Thompson, Andrew Moore, Dylan Pickle Simmer, Drift, Rualdi, and Ryan Wilson right now. Your top 10 there in the points on the 87 side. Now here's the overall side, and this is right now a 2-man show. It is Wells and Gilbert up there at the top, but Shane Ward's edged a little bit closer here in these last couple of races. Daryl Johnson, Scott Wise, still plenty of racing to go, so this battle here could get tight amongst the crew here as we continue to run. And then the team points right now, it's G Lightning Motors that is kind of stretched out on everybody, as G Lightning Motorsports and TNT and High Rollers, or High Spirits, I should say, and Torqued Wrench all right there within 44 points of each other. So still a real tight battle from second to sixth back there in the standings. And for those just joining us, let's look at the schedule again here. Daytona tonight for 80 laps, and it's 250 miles in Talladega next week, and then an all-star race coming up here on the 17th from Talladega in the super late model. And then we'll come back and kick off 2025 with the Xfinity car from Daytona. And of course, you see the 4 races there. As I mentioned, best way to explain this whole series is look at it as 6 different blocks of Mario Kart racing, as you got 4 race series throughout. Basically, that will crown not only an overall champion for this Vet to Track Masters of the Draft, but a champion in each of the 4. And right now, both of those have been Joe Wells in the first 2. But obviously, anything can happen here. So we'll see how these final 2 races go of this block and see who ends up the champion when it's all said and done here. But tonight, I think going to be a wild card. I think there's some people in here that aren't feeling too great about running a bumpy Daytona track. But I think there's others that think this could be a wild one. You go back to the Daytona race 2 weeks ago, as I mentioned, 3 weeks ago, and how smooth it actually went with a couple cautions early, and then it went green all the way to the end. And we saw some fantastic racing that night, and I think we'll see the same when it's over with here. But the stage is tonight going to be 16 and 40. So this first stage will go very quickly, and you'll see some cars on pit road here, and then likely a 2 or 3 stop, probably 3 stop race to be exact for the most part to get to the finish, if not 4, depending on how the cautions fall, as we are about 3.5 minutes in. So let's talk to our pole sitter, as they're still in the meeting right now, as I peek over there at the staging room where Lauren is having a talk. Probably a welcome back meeting for some of these guys who are either back in the series for the first time or back on the track here tonight. But a good group of at least 25 cars ready to go. There's Jason Branch and Nikhil Yarborough. Hardy's number 28 car. Of course, you go back to 1984. And I cannot help but think about one of the more vicious wrecks I've ever seen in a vintage car like this. Cale Yarborough qualifies on the pole, running over 200 miles an hour for the 500. Comes around turn 4 in the second lap. And literally, the car goes to spin, and he overcorrects it back up the track, and the car tumbles. And when I say tumble, I mean literally flips and hits, if I remember correctly, top first into the outside wall. And of course, he hopped out of that, walked away. The Tide Ride to 25 of Al Likens, the 08 of Gregory Thompson there. He's got himself a different looking paint here tonight, as Drift says hello in chat. Hello to also Skywing, John Noga, who's watching here tonight. Also, appreciate all the viewers hanging out here on this Tuesday evening. As we go and check, looks like everybody's split into their groups. So let's go talk with the pole sitter here tonight, that being Andrew Moore. Andrew is hanging out all the way down here in his High Spirits team with Quentin Clark. So a little bit of momentum for this High Spirits team here during this third season. The 87 cars, Andrew, have been pretty comfortable to you and Quentin, as you guys have had some great runs. Of course, Quentin getting that win here just a couple weeks ago. Can you get yourself one tonight from the pole?
Older cars are better for us older kids, us older millennials. So we kind of, I mean, we drove cars in the 90s, our parents' cars, so we kind of know what the boats feel like. So I think we have a little bit of an edge over these kids, but other than that, we're going to see how it goes. Car feels pretty tight, so we'll see what happens.
How much of this is it driving kind of like I know I've mentioned this a couple times, but driving like you're at Michigan or something, where you kind of let the car settle itself through the corner and then you're rolling back to the throttle and going?
Yeah, my first reaction in our group chat was, "Hey, this kind of feels like Rockingham.
Ah,
You gotta be easy with the bumps and not overdo it because the tires are just gonna wear out."
that's
But
going
the
to be,
first
oh, good.
4 laps, you can go all out like a regular super speedway. But once the tires start getting hot, people are gonna have to lift real hard and figure their lines out.
That's going to make things very interesting tonight. Well, appreciate your time, Andrew. Congratulations on the pole, and hopefully you had a great Thanksgiving, and we shall maybe talk here later on.
Thanks, buddy. You too.
Yes, sir. That's Andrew Moore, of course, the pole sitter tonight with High Spirits Racing. He's going to try to make it 2 for 2 for his team here at Daytona here this evening. It's got about 2.5 minutes to go before we get into the race, so I think this is a good time for us to go trackside for the playing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
All right, as we are back, getting ready to go racing here is less than 30 seconds before we go racing for the 200 miles and 80 laps. Appreciate the viewers coming in and hanging out here on this Tuesday evening. Make sure you share the stream out to your friends and family as we get ready to go racing here. As Elf going for a ride there almost. Buddy Elf in that 72 car. Who's got that paint? 97 Perry. Well done. The Buddy Elf paint scheme there at Daytona. It's kind of weird that we get a Buddy Elf paint scheme and the character that plays Buddy Elf is the same who plays Ricky Bobby. Kind of a trend there. Kind of an interesting irony there, huh? Saw what Al Likens with the Budweiser and the was it Tide Ride, I think, mixture, which I thought was kind of interesting too. So we've got some very creative paint schemes in these 87 cars here tonight as we get ready to go racing. Pace car going to take them to the grid as we take a look here at the starting lineup. Andrew Moore, 44-21, wins the pole. He'll start alongside Dylan Picklesimmers. Had some great qualifying runs so far here during this 87 run. Shane Ward, who's third in points entering tonight's race. He starts third alongside Scott Wise. Darrell Johnson and Quentin Clark going to start there in row number 6. Or row number 3, I should say. Row 4, Eddie Rowdy and Evan Perry. Here is the old Will Ferrell Buddy Elf special. Jason Branch and Drift going to start there in row number 5. Branch, the pole sitter from the race at iRacing Super Speedway last week. Sam Taylor, Brian Hayes, they'll start there in row number 6. We take a look at row 7. Travis Gilbert, who has won the most races so far here during the season. 4 wins in these first 10 races. He starts 13th alongside Al Likens. Greg Thompson and AJ Condon there in row number 8. Row 9, Stephen Melnick and Tim Shiflett. Joshua McKinney and Tommy Rogers in row 10. Dusty White, James Hudson. Good to see the Indiana driver there in the 2, starting 22nd. Ryan Wilson and Joe Wells going to start back at 24th. Not a good qualifying effort there for the driver of the 3 car. Derek Jacobs and Brady Karowski also 25th and 26th. Now I look down here at the grid. I noticed that McKinney and Karowski have not made the grid. Karowski did not get a qualifying effort in. And McKinney, I'm not sure what his situation is there. I know he's, I think, relatively new to the series. Race information tonight, 80 laps, as I mentioned. I did not update the bottom section, so let me do that right now. As the stage breaks are laps 16 and 40. And a reminder, there are no cautions, as I had to remind myself a couple weeks ago. No cautions at the stage breaks. If we're green, we stay green during that time period. And as per usual, as I've started doing with this run, you will notice a number up there at the top left corner that will let you know exactly how many laps there are to go in each stage as we roll through the turn 3 and 4 section here. 31 degrees of banking. Of course, if you want to hit somebody with some trivia, good opportunity to do so right here for those who did not know. The banking of Daytona International Speedway was created from Lake Lloyd, which is the water in the inside of the track. The lake was dug up, and that's what helped create the banking on this 2.5-mile track. Pace car going to pull off as we go for 80 laps here tonight, as mentioned, as the 77 and 12 bring them to the green flag as we're back to 87's racing at the old school Daytona tonight. It is the Masters of the Draft. And our camera is presented by TrackCams22.com. You can check them out online on Facebook and the iRacing forums. They are at TrackCams22.com as these cars get up to speed. No restrictor plates, none of that. And right off the bat, Moore getting a good push there on the inside lane. Scott Wise giving a push to Pickle Simmer on the outside lane. As Josh McKinney started the race actually on pit road, is already cars getting sideways here as they get into these bumps. 4 wide back there, 1 car into the wall. I think Little Debbie's done smacked the wall. As off turn 4, Shane Ward going to lead lap 1. Scott Wise back to the inside. He's going to take the lead now. And well, all the times we watched old school racing here at Daytona and see a black Chevrolet leading a race. Stand by. I'll a little issue real quick. Gotta get the bugs out of the way, right? Do. 39 aboard. There's Quentin Clark, the Daytona winner just a couple weeks ago. He's going for the lead there in the outside lane. There's the half and half car of Al Likens. As we come by to complete lap number 4 already of the 16 here to Creeds that race in stage 1. This is an app that was actually created by a gentleman. I'll talk about that here in a second. Just let me try to get this fixed up real quickly. I had this set up right. And there we go. Blair Thomas, who is a gentleman that's actually helped me, as one car goes up there, it smacks the outside wall. As you see, this field starting to spread out now. As this is a part of the race where the handling is going to come into play. As that 5 of A.J. Condon fallen back already. But he has helped with not only doing auto stages, but a randomizer also, which has helped me. If you haven't had a chance to see any of the videos, you can look in the YouTube video on demand of the captains, and you can see the first 4 races of the 2024 Cup season that I've run with this randomizer that helps set up the right, basically percentages and per se to almost simulate the real life Cup racing that we've seen. Travis Gilbert already to the lead here after just 4 laps. After starting in the 12th position or 13th position. Al Lyken's going to fly up in there as 3 wide, and they're getting squeezed a little bit there. As Anina Taylor up into the outside wall. As the pole sitter Pickle Simmer's fallen all the way back to 20th now. After starting the race on the outside pole. How bumpy is this old school track? If you've not ridden, check this out. Oh, never mind. A wrecking. No, and over goes Wise almost. Quentin Clark's going to get involved. And through the mud go a couple cars. The 33's involved. Scott Wise with heavy damage. Andrew Moore, I think, got some damage, the pole sitter. Uh-oh. I think Joe Wells might have some damage. Well, this one took out some heavy hitters as caution waves for the first time at lap number 7. Let's see what happens as we roll that beautiful bean footage. Can I call the 25 car the Tidewiser? Ooh, the 33 got tightened into the wall, 42, and there's the 31 about going over. Others come piling in. Oh, no. Buddy Elf takes somebody out. Another view of this crash cam. You can see the 33 is going to get a little tight right there. Slides up the track. Unfortunately, 42 nowhere to go. 31 goes up and over. Nice job by Melnick to miss. 28 does a good job also. And then Andrew Moore, unfortunately, I think Buddy Elf saw the red and white, thought it was Santa Claus, and turned him. And first caution waves here as all the leaders except Melnick come to pit road. More tires and fuel, I think, for the most of these cars. Some might just go fuel only here. Shane Ward wins the race off pit road, but tire wear is going to mean something here, I think, tonight. Gilbert going to be the next car off pit road. Al Likens, Jason Branch, and Drift. Your top 5 out of those who came to pit road is, I think, others maybe just getting some damage fixed or maybe getting themselves a set of vendor bridges. So it gives us an opportunity here to give a shout out to Vet the Track, of course, the sponsor not only of the Victory Lane interviews, but also the main sponsor here of the series is Vet the Track, a great organization that helps out with veterans to get them on a motorcycle and out doing some things on a racetrack and doing some great things for veterans. So big shout out to Vet the Track as always for not only sponsoring the series, but with doing some great things for some great people that have been out there fighting for this country. So it's a great outlet for them, and get out there on a specialized track and do some racing on on a bike, which is pretty cool. So shout out to Vet to Track. As I mentioned, the other sponsors here tonight, Vivid EV, of course, the electronic vehicles, like golf carts and different types of items like that. Of course, Wise Guy iRacing Graphics, the sponsor of the Stage Award, which, of course, coming up in about 7 laps or so, we'll give that first one away. Not to mention the Superior Templating Hard Charger Award. So whoever gains the most spots here tonight will get the Hard Charger Award. So Stephen Melnick's going to lead him to the green here. Darkwing Duck. The old #1 car, the Georgia native. Big shout out to Jonathan Thomas hanging out in chat. Good to see my buddy out here. Jonathan, a guy I've known for a very long time, going back to the days of my beginnings on iRacing some 12 years ago. Of course, JT been up and down on iRacing and other types of stuff, taking care of real life stuff too. So good to see him in chat watching here tonight, as always. And for his sake tonight, I'll go ahead and throw it out there. Go Gators. So we'll come to the green here. 6 laps to go. Everybody pretty much back on track, it looks like, with the resets and stuff. After a good start to the race here, we come to the green with Melnick leading the 39 car. Here we go, green flag. 6 to go, and not a good restart there for the 39 award as Lycan takes that Tidewiser car to the inside. Now look at the bumps in 1 and 2, man. They're just as vicious as they used to look back in the heyday. Got to be careful with this bump draft. This car, if you remember back in the day, they didn't really bump draft. They did the old slingshot. Of course, Melnick with the older tires, he might not be able to go so wide open like they've been able to do with the fresher tires here. As Gilbert's going to go back to the front here as they come across the line. 5 laps to go in the stage. Melnick actually leads that lap, so he's fighting. Drift back there in that 4 car. Jason Branch up there. Darrell Johnson in the 93 car back here tonight. Oh, some contact. More contact. The 9 goes into the 2-2. Heads for Lake Lloyd. And he saves it. That right front is all shattered. And he's coming back up the track as the 9 goes around. There's the caution. As the 9 and the 2 go dipsy-doo dunkaroo and spin around, bringing out the yellow. The 2 car pretty much took up all of Volusia County there on that spin. Let's see what happens. This is going to happen right up here at the bottom of the screen. That black and white car going to catch the wall right there, and they're going to get together. 9's going to get turned into the 2. And a 2 wanted to make sure it got every corner of that car smacked up as James Hudson goes around along with the 9 of Sam Taylor. As our second caution comes out, and we might squeeze in before the finish of stage 1 here. Again, they don't take breaks, so we could go green right at the checkered flag of stage 1. That's one of the tricks about this league, is there's no, yellow flag until we get to the start of stage 2. Whenever we start stage 2, that's when it goes. You see Taylor going back around, looks like off the 34's front end. As a lot of cars towards the back now going to come to pit road. Good news in this series, you do get a reset to use. So if you get that car torn up, you can at least get back out there and fix her up and almost like a restart to yourself to get back going and trying to go win this race. Let's see, we should be coming to one to go this time by, so I think we are literally going to have a one-lap shootout to get to the end of stage 1. Now, pop quiz for those who, let's see who knows their vintage racing here for NASCAR. You're going to see these little orange markings right there as Gilbert goes over that one there in turn 4. Now, come up to another one here at the entrance of the tri-oval. Right about there. And there's another one at the exit of the tri-oval. Does anybody remember what those marks were for when this track was out? Matter of fact, they came into play, I want to say in the mid-2000s. Might have been the later 2000s when these little markings came into play for things. There was a set of them in 1 and 2, of course, at the entrance and the exit, then another set in 3 and 4, and then a set over on the front straightaway at the tri-oval. And now that you've had about 15 to 20 seconds to answer, I'll go and share the answer. Basically, they were put there to keep the cars from pushing each other through the corners. Back in the heyday, a lot of the wrecks, a lot of people were pushing going into the corners, and wrecks were getting created, big wrecks and that kind of thing. So at that time period, NASCAR said, you know what, we're going to put these markings out there on the track, and you can push down the straightaways, but when you get to those marks on the track, you had to stop pushing. Of course, when they repaved the track, that's when the tandem draft showed up. All right, so we are going to have a one-lap shootout in stage number 1. As we come into the restart zone, Travis Gilbert leading the Tidewiser number 25 car, and Gilbert does not get a good restart. Not sure if he had trouble shifting into a gear, because you remember these Jericho transmissions that were in these cars back in the heyday. You had to literally drive it almost like your outdoor car. As Lycan goes to the lead with drift to second, Gilbert's got some work to do here as Branch to his outside. Gilbert makes the move in that 22 car. As here we go, gonna drag race it down to the line. As stage 1 goes to Gilbert. And we got wrecking. Well, they're still trying to wreck back there as finally they go around. Oh, harder than the wall goes to 9 as the 31 goes around and more cars. I mean, this is 3/4 of the field right here. We have got ourselves a biggin. Let's see where this all creates out here. These cars just all come together almost. Melnick and Wise, and there's at least 10 cars involved here. Get a crash cam of this one. It's going to start up there where the 1 is, that purple number 1 car. Going to kind of drift up the track there a little bit, and he and the 31 and 5 are going to come together. Nice job by Wells to miss that, and there's Buddy Elf taking out another car, unfortunately, as they make contact. Ooh, 9 hit the inside down there at a spot you probably don't want to hit. Ryan Wilson there, unfortunately, is a lot of cars with damage here. So, real quickly, of course, the caution coming out there as Travis Gilbert in the 22 car has gotten himself a win in the stage 1 presented by Wise Guy iRacing Graphics. So congratulations to him. As Travis is going to come to pit road in that Bet the Track number 22 car as a winner of stage number 1. Gilbert did come into this race as the points leader. While we got a quick minute, let's see who we got in here. Have a talk. Let's talk with I don't think I've talked to Derek yet, so let's bring Derek up. Trying to think of some drivers who I haven't not had a chance really to speak with since we've been on the air here at the Vet to Track Masters of the Draft Series. So I think Derek's one that I've not spoken with yet. So let's bring Derek up here. Mr. Jacobs, you get a copy, sir.
I got a copy. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Derek, obviously you're in the 11th position. I knew you were kind of hanging back, but I noticed that Navy SEAL logo coming through that wreck there. So what'd you see there, and how'd you work your way through it?
I was just kind of dodging bullets, pretty much, just trying to keep the car as clean as I can, just to try to survive, make it to the end.
How much have you been kind of using this as a little bit of learning here during this race to kind of understand what's going on? Because this is a whole different animal compared to a typical super speedway race.
Absolutely. It's a totally different car, totally different beast with this track being the old school, old school track, with the bumps and it's just an uneven surface. So you just got to be careful.
I have to ask, as curiosity comes into play here. I noticed you drove right through pit road. Have you been talking to Drift?
No, if you've noticed, I've done it every single caution so far. I've gone all the way to the back every time.
I say that because jokingly, Drift and I used to run a lot of NIS races back years ago, and we used to do that a lot on pit stops. So it was like our little, what I called intentionally missing pit road unintentionally or something. I had a crazy little wording of it, but you pulled that off. I was like, wait a minute, you've been around Drift, but well done, man, so far, and maybe we'll see you up front.
Hopefully, maybe by the end of this thing, we'll see if we can keep her clean.
Absolutely. Thanks, Derek. Appreciate your time.
Yep, thank you.
Derek Jacobs doing a good job here tonight. As now I got to. Here's the hardest part. What channel were you in, sir?
R&R.
What was that?
R&R.
R&R. That's it. Okay. Yeah. So back in the day, me and Drift used to run some NIS races, and we would be the ones that we'd go through pit road on the opening of pit road, so we'd come back around at one to go and pit. It's a trick that you can do on iRacing. And I used to call it the old intentionally missing your pit stall. All right, so Andrew Moore leads them back to the green flag here. Travis Gilbert, Jason Branch, Drift, and Al Likens, your top five as we come to the green flag here at lap 20. And again, we go to lap 40 now, 20 laps in this stage. As the outside lane with another good restart this time. Yeah, appreciate all the viewers hanging out here tonight. If you're new to the chat, hit that subscribe button. If you're not new, we appreciate you coming back to hang out with us. Coming, Al Likens, he's going to the grass. I saw him get a little free there and almost make contact. Oh, and he's hard into the wall, and now he's flying. Likens going for a wild ride in the Tidewiser mobile, and unfortunately, the broadcaster's jinx is hit. I think Derek Jacobs got involved in that. Or not. I'm not sure. He's coming out of pit road right now. This is kind of a weird caution here. I must have missed something, as Derek did come to pit road for something there. He was not involved in a wreck, I don't think. Oh, okay. He gets hooked by the 24 there. And from there, he's almost yelling Leroy Jenkins as he lands right on top of Will Ferrell there. And once again, Eddie Ronde goes for a run, goes for a spin. Yeah, Jacobs was over on pit road, so he might have found a lucky break here and missed that wreck, but unfortunately, he's going to be a lap down. Right there, you're going to see the incident where the 24 and the 25 come together, and Al's trying to catch her. And what looks like to be about a 3-car accident here. It's all said and done. Third caution comes out. We're going to make that the fourth caution here of this race. Scott Wise is going to get the lucky dog. And so I was debating on this one, on talking about this here, but I'm doing a big experiment right now. Of course, we all know what's happening coming here at the end of April, or at the beginning of April, when I step away full time here from doing the whole broadcast thing and go, walk away from the computers and stuff like that. And part of this I've thought about a little bit is, what do I want to do down the road? And one of the cool things my wife and I have talked about doing is doing some selling and stuff. Of course, I had the Captain Esports Network store for a little bit that I had opened up, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to hold off on that because I'm going to work on a variety of stuff that can turn into shirts and different things that we're going to start selling and that kind of thing. Well, I come across the idea today as I thought about it, and I'm going to share it with you guys right now in chat. But right now, I have an opportunity for you guys to go over on, you'll see my website is there still for the Captain Esports Network store, but there's only one item there. That one item is a Christmas card. You heard me right, a Christmas card. So normally you have to go to the store or whatever before Christmas time or near that time of the year as you get down to the holiday and you get your loved one a card or your friends or whatever a card. I'm giving you an opportunity right now. I've created this card myself, and you can go get it and purchase it right now. There's the link in chat. Open up a second window. Don't leave the page. Don't leave the YouTube page. Stay here for the broadcast, but I'm leaving that there for you if you're interested in purchasing a Christmas card right now. You don't even have to go to your store to get it. It's right there, gets shipped to you, and you have it. All you just fill it out and put it in the envelope that comes with it. Captain's making Christmas cards now. Who would have thought? Hashtag getting old. All right, so Travis Gilbert, Andrew Moore, Darrell Johnson up to the third position. Having a good run here so far. Jason Branch having a great run. Josh McKinney, his debut here in the series in that 24 car. Outside the little whoopsies with the 25 just now. He's running pretty well in the 6th position. Quentin Clark there 7th. Joe Wells up in 8th. Tommy Rogers, Dusty White, your top 10. As we're at the 1/4 mark here. In night number 2 of racing here out of 3. The Captain Esports Network every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday now, basically doing racing. And of course, whenever I get the opportunity to, we'll stream sim racing for the Cup Series on the AI side of things. Been doing that, 4 races in already. In the What If Series, as I'm calling it. What if the Cup cars didn't have the playoffs? As we come to the green flag, Moore and Gilbert. And once again, Gilbert, not the best of restarts. So I know it's very tricky in these cars. So like I said, it's not one of those where you blip the gear and you throw it into a gear with these transmissions. You almost have to let out of the gas, let out of the clutch, and shift. Like an old 1990s car, which I know a lot of people don't know anything about. All right, let's see if we can get going here and get a green flag run going. As Drift gives more of that push into turn 3. And caution coming right back out. So there goes that idea. And the caution is somewhere. Oh, back here, the Melnick and Hudson, the 1 and 2 cars. Giving each other the 1 and 2 on the track. Over in turn 3 and 4. This happened at the back, I believe. Nope, right there. Contact with the 54 car in the 2, and then there's the 1 getting collided in it. Unfortunately, a little bit of a shaky start to the second stage. Let's see here. The 2 is back there behind the 54. Not sure if he just got a good run or if the 54 checked up. And once again, the 33 gets a piece of that one. As Gilbert hangs a left, comes to pit road last second. Going to bring Johnson and McKinney and Wells and White and Rogers, those guys with them to pit road here. Front 4 going to stay out. And we're going to take an opportunity here to talk to another car that's down on pit road, and that is the 33 of Eddie Rowaldi. We're going to talk to him because Eddie is having an interesting night. Hey, Eddie.
Hey, Chris.
Hey, buddy. I want you to go out there and hit the pace car.
I don't know how to. Okay, the first one is all me, but I don't know how to avoid these things.
Hey, sometimes it's just not your night. Well, unfortunately, but hey, the good news is you still got what 55 laps to break that luck and get it going here, man. How's I know it's been a little bit of a rough one here for you, we'll say, but nonetheless, man, how's the car out there driving? I'm sure it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's not bad. I'm still having a good time. The first wreck was definitely all me. I just got a little too wide and couldn't keep it out of the wall, but I'm chipping away. I'm making my repairs every caution.
Fair
Just
enough.
keep ducking into the pits and staying on the lead lap. So I'm happy to just stay on the lead lap and keep it rolling. So let's see what we end up with.
Have you had a caution yet where you've had less damage to fix than you've had when you left the pits?
Yeah, the last couple, I think there's been at least 15 seconds on top of what I already had. So I've gone backwards.
I want to think about losing the draft here. It's okay for a little bit. So, nah,
Yeah. Yeah. I think I've learned to just keep my cool and just try to keep it steady here.
That's all you can do. So, hey, man, hopefully having fun. Figured I'd lighten the moment up there for you. Have fun.
Yeah, appreciate it, Chris. Thanks.
Absolutely. Eddie Rouhani, who's hit everything but the Florida lottery so far here tonight. And sure he's looking to improve his run here so far. As we got 14 laps to go in stage 2, and we're going to double them up again. So just checking out actually my good buddy Jim Herrick's website right now, 40racewear.com. If you have not had a chance to check out the items he has to offer right now, I see gloves, I see hats, I see shoes, I see shirts, I see all types of good stuff here for you to check out. Make sure you go to 40racewear.com and get your apparel and shoes and stuff. And trust me when I tell you, when to put the shoes and the gloves on, it will enhance your driving here on iRacing. I have the shoes, and you can too. Make sure you check out 40racewear.com. As Jim Herrick does a great job with great partners there putting that whole thing together. And also, big shout out to MC Racing, of course. Always hanging out watching the streams here tonight. If Mark's watching, he's got a little bit of a different experience here tonight watching these old 87 cars on a track from the mid-2000s with all the bumps and stuff. Retro racing here on the Captain eSports Network as Andrew Moore brings them back to the green here on lap 27. Probably the cleanest restart we've seen up at the front so far. As Quentin Clark has joined Jason Branch on the second row. AJ Condon and Dusty White there in row 3. Daryl Johnson, Ryan Wilson, row 4. As we're 13 laps from halfway, 13 laps to go on the stage. So many different strategies that I have no clue who's on what here. I can kind of go off my numbers, I guess, a little bit here as Drift all of a sudden blinks out there for a second. That's kind of scary. Oh, and around goes Branch, around goes Ward. Is there rain on the track or something? Travis Gilbert's going through the grass. They're wrecking. One car's on pit road. And I joke about the rain. There's no rain on ovals. But everybody spins off of turn 4 just all at once. That started with Branch and Ward almost simultaneously spinning in 2 different parts of the pack. Yeah, let's see if we can. 23 Wilson got a little loose there. Gilbert does a nice job missing. Well, I tell you what, that watching that 28 spin off of turn 4 there, that looked very familiar again for you old school racing fans. You go back to the 83 Busch Clash or Bud Shootout at Daytona here. That 83 or the 23 spinning right there, or 28 I should say spinning. Shades of Ricky Rudd when he goes for his ride in the Wrangler car. Of course, that would be the infamous eye taping incident where they end up taping his eyes open for the Daytona 500 that he ends up running in. And of course, he wins the Richmond race the next week. But his eyes were taped open for this race because of the wrecks that he was involved in that race. So 10 laps to go in the stage. Next time by, I'm actually going to step away and get a quick water and be right back. I'm going to keep the stream going now. All right. A little water break, unofficially brought to you by Walmart's Water. Chat working? I noticed the chat said it was disconnected there for a second. I'm going to hit refresh here on YouTube here and see if I can still chat with you guys. So right now looks like we got 16 cars on the lead lap. Evan Perry, I think, might have gotten a lucky dog. Of course, some of the differences back in 1987, for those kind of curious, with this 87 car. Remember, there were no speed limits on pit road. I got you, Skywing. Thanks, sir. There were no speed limits on pit road in 1987. There were no restrictor plates until Bobby Allison, the late great Bobby Allison, who recently passed away, tested the catch fence at Talladega. That changed everything there. And also in 1987 were the years of the restarts that were single file, and the lead lap cars started on the inside lane. Of course, if you remember, right before they had the double file restarts and stuff for that last decade or so, restarts were actually where the leader would take the outside lane and the lap cars would be on the inside. As they re-rack them back up here. We'll have 8 laps to go in the stage. As Moore and Johnson, Clark Likens, McKinney, your top 5, Dusty White, Dylan Picklesimmer, Joe Wells, Tommy Rogers, and Eddie Berardi somehow's in the top 10. A lot of cars damaged, a lot of cars a lap down. Now Derek Jacobs a lap down, Shane Ward, Scott Wise, Brian Hayes, and then Tim Shiflett is 2 laps down. Drift, unfortunately, drifted out of the server. Stephen Melnick, he is 5 laps down. James Hudson off the track. And Sam Taylor off the track. So a lot of attrition here early in this race as we get back to the green flag and back at it here. As these cars get roared up to speed, 220 miles an hour at least down these straightaways. Clark trying to push more out front there, 93 in front of Al Likens, who's had a great run tonight, even though he's gone flying in the air and almost done some backflips here. Oh, a little door bang in between Moore and Johnson. Oh, and Johnson's going to get turned for the lead down into Moore. He saves it for now. And still trying to save it. And into the Daytona Road Course he goes. And we stay green. Break there from the 77. And that hands the lead to Quentin Clark, who's got the potentially the one of the 2 most illegal cars in NASCAR history pushing him. That being that Jurassic Park 24 car. As Johnson leads that lap, you could argue between that and the 1981 Gen 4, or I'm sorry, Gen 2 or Gen 3 Buick that was released. The 81 Buick ran by Bobby Allison, the Gray Ghost, which was the second edition of course, Buddy Baker winning the 500 in 1980 with it. But in 81, Bobby Allison brought the same Buick out. And NASCAR pretty much told them, hey, y'all don't bring that car back, please. Didn't say anything was wrong with it, but they just told them not to bring it back. As all of a sudden happens, a couple cars blinking out here, very interesting. And of course that Jurassic Park car ran in 97 at the All-Star race with Jeff Gordon. And when that race was over with, NASCAR said, hey, Ray Evernham, don't bring that car back, please. As Evan Perry rejoins the track there right in front of the field here. 5 laps to go. Clark leading McKinney and Johnson and Wells and Picklesimmer as they come across the line. I think it's going to come down to the draft and how much handling you have in this car. How much tire did you save as McKinney slides up to the front. Should mention Al Lycan was a part of the draft a minute ago. He was blinking out. He is still on track. And he has now unfortunately lost the draft back here as he got himself back into the... oh, and one car goes flying into the air. That is Joe Wells. With 3 to go. As he keeps it going and we stay green as he stayed off the track. As Gilbert giving a push to the 24 as they race. Picklesimmer having some blinking issues in that Menard's car. As Dylan can get the draft off to 72 as they come racing off turn 4, coming to 2 to go. Starting to fall back a little bit more. As Gilbert's going to go by as he tries to stalk the 42 of Quentin Clark here. As they come off turn 4, they'll see the final lap of stage number 2 right here. As Dylan Picklesimmer to the lead, going to clear the lap car first. Well, at least he has, and well, for now, and here comes Evan Perry back at it, high wide and in the wall. If you're not first, you're last, said, well, Will Farrell. As Ricky Bobby and look who pops to the lead, Travis Gilbert. As Gilbert brings him off turn number 4. Going to make the moves when it counts. And he will take stage number 2 and sweep the stages. Presented by Wise Guy iRacing Graphics, Gilbert, Picklesimmer, Quentin Clark, McKinney, Roaldi, Thompson, Condon, Johnson, White, and Branch. According to our numbers, the stage 2 winners. As old contact, Quentin Clark goes around. Oh, and a T-bone stake. Oh, and he gets clobbered. Branch and Derek Jacobs get involved. And please don't tell me he got involved in this one too. Oh, 72 gets in the back of the 42, and there's the damage of the 33. And Eddie Rorardi's been involved in every wreck tonight, unfortunately. Drive it to 30. You see the wreck up ahead. That's where he gets hit by a branch and goes for a ride, unfortunately. And leader's going to come to pit road here. As per usual, back in the old heyday with the old jacks and stuff like that, 22, 23 second 4-tire pit stops. As the 24 wins the race off pit road with McKinney, and then Pickle Simmer and Travis Gilbert. Let's see if we can find another driver to get a word with here. See, I've talked to all of them. Let's talk to Dylan. I don't know if I've talked to him. Let's get a word from this 12 car that's been running up there towards the front here in this race. Dylan, you get a copy?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah, buddy. Gotcha. Obviously, the 12 car looking pretty good here this evening. A little battle there with Travis in the end. Fall up a little short of getting yourself a stage win, but still, you got that yellow car looking pretty good tonight.
Yeah, man. I almost had the stage, but the 72 was kind of in the way, and I got in the corner too hot. But we'll take second and see how we can get through the rest of this race.
How are we feeling about obviously getting through here? Been a lot of handling coming into play, along with the speed. How's the car felt to you?
I have actually gotten a new PC, and I am like kind of getting used to it. So I'm not the most comfortable right now, but the car's feeling good. Besides that,
Do you have the new computer smell?
yes, I do.
Nice. Well, great job, man. Congratulations on the new computer there, and all the best.
Yep, thank you.
Absolutely, Dylan Pickle Simmer. Nothing beats the new computer smell as a parody to the new car smell that Peyton Manning was singing a long time ago. And we'll get Dylan down to his channel, which was TNT, right? Dylan, what channel were you in, bud?
TNT, sorry.
Nailed it. Oh, you're all good. Nailed it. So big shout out to the viewers hanging out here tonight. As always, I know it's been a testy race here, but been a lot of good green flag racing when we've had the chance to see it. And I know these guys are enjoying putting on a show here tonight, but just past the halfway point, 37 laps to go. Joe Wells down there in the apron. Still in the 7th position, even though he tested the lines of gravity coming off of turn 4 just a little bit ago. He's going to line up in his 7th position as we have the green waved off for some reason here. Get one to go this time by. So next week, these guys will race at Talladega. It'll be the final race of the third block of the Masters of the Draft, and we'll hit the halfway point. And then there's an all-star race coming up the week before Christmas in a super late model car before we hit the Xfinity cars at the new year. As we slowly start to wrap up all the iRacing here on the Captain eSports Network. As always, I share my thank yous to everybody for being a part of it. Of course, we wrapped up our Thursday series already. And a big shout out to Casey Carrington, everybody there, for what they did. Of course, got 2 more Monday nights left and then 3 more Wednesday nights. And then we'll be down to this for January through April to wrap it all up. So looking forward to being around all the good people of all these leagues. I've had nothing but a great time. And they're all great people, and looking forward to seeing all of these leagues be successful, including these guys. Scott and Lauren they work so hard to make this league successful, and it's an honor to be a part of it. Once again, as we come to the green at lap 45, McKinney leading Pickle Simmer. As these guys get up to speed. Already climbing 180 miles an hour at this point, so as they get to the max straightaway, and these cars are full song, pretty much 215 to 220 miles an hour down the straightaways. We ride with the 24. So Dylan getting some laps led. You see Gilbert up to the second position already. He's going to dive to the inside. AJ Condon having a good run there in that 5 car. He's up to the third position. You see Joe Wells. He's been trying to be patient. Been involved in a couple of incidents. He's there in 5th. If you can survive this race, you've got a shot. And AJ up the middle. Excuse me, boys, I'm coming through. That 5 car to the lead. It's all about getting yourself in position right now to win this race. Yeah, you have 32 laps to go, but you still got at least 1 pit stop. 24 clipped the apron a little bit there. You still got 1 more pit stop to get you to the end of this race, so you got to put yourself in position there to have the best pit stops and then potentially come out with the lead. You got a big pack of cars up here running in the front as McKinney gets the apron again. That's Joe Wells there in front of him. Pickle Simmer going to jump back to the top side. He'll take the lead back. Starting to see some other names climbing up here. Ryan Wilson, who was involved in a couple accidents, see him up in the 7th position now. Tommy Rogers back behind him as he gets passed by Ward and Andrew Moore, who's back into running here after going for a spin off the tri-oval. As we still got 16 cars on the lead lap now with these few cautions. Has allowed everybody to get back in this race. As look who's gone to the lead. Joe Wells, the 3 car. Picklesimmer tries to give him the old NFL not for long with Joe blinking, or I'm sorry, it's Picklesimmer blinking a little bit there. Oh, getting tight. Joe doing a great job of getting out of the gas there as it looked like they might wreck off at turn 4. As Gilbert leads, or trying to get the lead, that Vet to Track number 22 car. Again, big shout out to those guys for what they do, helping veterans the opportunity to get out on a motorcycle, run on a specialized track, and give them the opportunity to enjoy the life with Vet to Track. So appreciate what they do for not only the series, but of course for veterans worldwide. As there goes Gilbert to the lead once again, bringing Wilson with him as mentioned. The cream rising to the top as usual here, but still anybody can win this race as long as you're on the lead lap. Ooh, and did Gilbert, gets hooked with Wilson. Good save on both parts. I think we saw a similar wreck like that in the original Daytona race here a couple weeks ago. That allows the front 3 to pull away, but I think with this draft and everybody kind of slingshot off each other, they should be able to catch back up to the leaders here real quickly. Of course, fixed setup for these cars. As Eddie, easy, contact into the wall goes the 11. Or I'm sorry, it's the 93 that goes around. And it's going to bring the caution out. As Darrell Johnson a little bit of contact there, and unfortunately goes around. And we have a tire running down the front straightaway. Let's see how this one got started. I think. There we go. And he collects Shane Ward, unfortunately, at 39. Bad timing there for Shane. And also for the 93. Let's see what... I thought I saw a car get out of shape there around. So kind of get a little bit loose there. And that caused that little bit of checkup. And unfortunately, those cars get involved. As those cars get fixed up, we come to 25 laps to go. Roger Rios Matias not here tonight, but Superior Templating, of course, sponsoring the Hard Charger Award as the leader is going to come to pit road here. Now, I was going to tell you who, as of right now, would be the Hard Charger, but the standings are going to get mixed up right now. See, 4 tires and fuel. It should be for everybody here. Of course, we're all used to 13, 14, 15-second stops with these 87 cars. And the pit crews, they're set up pretty real here. So pit stops are about 22 seconds, and there they go. Depending on how much fuel you need. Been a lot of lead changes here tonight. Unfortunately, I don't have a actual counter, but I know for sure we've seen a lot of people make passes. They're coming to the start-finish line, and as we always like to say, if the start-finish line wasn't the counter for lead changes, goodness gracious knows what the record would be in real life. As well, one to go this time by. With now Drift taking a wave around. Looks like the 47 of Hayes taking a wave around. 2 or 3 cars going to get it. He'll get to come back around and be back on the lead lap. And Josh McKinney get his first win here in his first start. Looking pretty good so far in that 24 car. The 3 on the outside of Joe Wells, the 12 of Pickle Simmer, Andrew Moore back up the 4th. And of course the guy that has won the most races this season, and Travis Gilbert there in the 5th position. Field getting smaller and smaller. We started with 25 cars. And cars that have had issues here tonight. And at least a lap down. Shane Ward, Tim Shiflett, Daryl Johnson, Steve Melnick, Drift, Brian Hayes, Evan Perry, Derek Jacobs, James Hudson, Sam Taylor. For those keeping record, that's 16th to 25th. 9 cars, 10 cars. Of course, thank you again to the viewers hanging out. Hopefully you've had a great start to your month of December, the final month of 2024. I said this to my wife a couple days ago and kind of blew her mind when I said this, but when this coming January hits and 2025 begins, we'll already be a quarter of a century into the millennium, the 2000s. As we go green, and we're right back under yellow. And I do not know why. Looks like the 54 Tim Shiflett, maybe? Yeah, he's got damage. So the 54, it looks like. The Grinch stole the green flag. Oh yeah, 54 going around here on the front straightaway. This is the wave around cars coming back to the field. Oh, and a big checkup, and Shiflett just jumps on the brakes. right back under caution we go. All right, let's headed forward by Lauren. Lauren's helping me out here. I appreciate Lauren's help. She's got enough work on her hands here tonight. She's still giving a man a hand. I always appreciate what Lauren does, by the way. Joe Wells will be the hard charger right now, pending how the pitch shake out. And right now he is plus 21, so she is by far correct on this one. Josh McKinney giving him a run for his money, though, with 18 positions up. But Josh did not start the race on the track, so I believe that would eliminate him from that award, if I remember that rule correctly. There's Josh down there. He's in the G Lightning team here. Let's get a word with him. Oh, T-Rex car here. Up in the lead with 21 laps to go. Josh, you got a copy?
I do. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good, man. Good. Well, obviously, here in the series, well, you got the old T-Rex car, which kind of became an illegal car back in the mid-90s, but you've got out here running pretty well here tonight. Can we hold on and win this thing?
Yeah, I mean, she was fast in the 90s there. She's pretty bad right now, isn't she?
She is pretty good. Difference is, though, that car had some interesting specs to it and eventually had no rear end bumper on it, which kind of made it fast. But I know in iRacing you do that. It's not so fast.
Well, I talked to Jeff before the race, and we managed to put something together pretty close to what it was back then. I think we got something for him tonight.
There you go, man. Well, hey, you're doing a great job. Obviously, good to see you out here, and nothing but the best. You're going to get one to go this time by.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it, buddy.
Absolutely. Josh,
stay tuned.
Yes, sir. Josh McKinney right now, the leader of the race in that 24 car. As Lauren informed me that Ryan Wilson, another person that could be in contention, so we'll have to keep an eye on him. But others up there, of course, Joe Wells up 21 right now. Of course, Dusty White's up 14. Tommy Rogers up 11. This is, of course, according to my timing and scoring. But Lauren and them, they have the official awards when it's all over with here. But if you do start on pit road, you are not eligible. So Brady Karowski, unfortunately, he still has not ran a lap yet in this race. And, of course, the 24 of Josh McKinney going to be ineligible for the Hard Charger Award tonight, which is, of course, presented by Superior Templating. Of course, fun sign on work. For those who don't know, obviously do the whole delivery business for FedEx, and of course the fun stuff really starting to begin. In 6 days a week, the last 2 weeks now, going to be at it all the way through Christmas time. So for those who haven't realized or recognized it, I did have the stream up yesterday evening. And we'll have the streams up here as I've kind of wrote a note to myself to make sure they're up before the night before the race. So as we go to Talladega next week, a reminder, look for the stream to be up Monday afternoon to Monday evening. So you can get out there and share it with your friends and family and come be a part of the finale in this Feta Track 87's block of the Masters of the Draft. All right, let's see what everybody's got here. 19 laps to go in this race. as McKinney leads Dylan Picklesimmer to the green flag right now. McKinney pulling away to a little bit of a lead there. Joe Wells behind him, and there is Gilbert. You could argue the two best drivers this league's seen so far this season when it comes to results and stuff. But look at Jason Branch, that top side coming to work. .200 miles an hour of fun as Scott Wise gets up there and tags the wall. These cars driving very evil right now out here on the track. Gilbert making slingshot moves to the outside, to the inside, and there he goes to the front. $17 to go this time by. As we have 15 laps, or 15 drivers on the lead lap still. Anybody here can win it. Greg Thompson, 42.94, fastest lap of the race that time by. So that 08's got some wheels on it. Oh, 24 clipping the apron. He goes for a slide and saves it. He's been kind of clipping that apron a little too much here recently. To go is Gilbert. That bottom side, Picklesimmer on the top side. Gilbert putting that pressure on. Gets a bump for the 24. You see the 25 of Likens coming into play as the 12 disappears a little bit there. And look at the 33 in the outside lane. Eddie Roarty, who's hit, as I mentioned earlier, everything but the Florida Lottery, sits in the top 10, and then right on cue, he goes for a spin along with the 77. As the rack focus comes into play here on my camera, everything goes blurry. And caution with 15 to go. Take a look from the 33 car here. Gets an outside wall. Add the 28 to the list. 93 going to edge the inside wall. Quentin Clark goes flying through there. One more time here. It's going board with 33. This starts, it looks like as he got tight right here off turn 4. It just kind of pushes up into the wall. As he and Andrew come together. So the 33 will continue on there after the contact as the 22 now leads. And again, next week it is Talladega for the finale of this 87 car. And before we go to the Xfinity car, matter of fact, let's, for those just joining us, show you the schedule. course, we're finishing up the old school Daytona race here tonight. Next week, Talladega. And it's back to Daytona for the super late models. And then the Xfinity cars kick off Daytona in January. For February, it's the Gen 4. And in March, the Gen 6, which will finish out this season. This will include a couple more trips, one to Monza, another couple trips to Atlanta. NASCAR's on pit road again. Tires and fuel and Dusty White. Looks like a 2-tire stop. Everybody else probably getting some damage fixed, and that's going to give Dusty White the lead here. Again, big thank you to everyone hanging out in the stream here tonight. Hopefully you've enjoyed the racing and the broadcasting and stuff like that, as always. We'll get one to go this time by. Yeah, this is different. This is a track I've never really had the opportunity to race at much. I think the rate later was my English. Race at much. I've had good times racing here though when I can, but you just get spoiled by running so much of the smooth tracks that you come back to this bumpy one and realize you kind of got to run it different no matter what car you drive. So Dusty White, Travis Gilbert, Joe Wells, Al Likens, and Dylan Picklesimmer, your top 5. Of course, Gilbert and the 3 of Wells, they get together. It could be very interesting to see how this race plays out. Going to come off turn 4 and 11 laps to go. Who's going to get this third race of the 87's? The Vet to Track Masters of the Draft is good restart for Gilbert. Turn 2. I appreciate it, John. Appreciate the kind words, guys. Get up there, side drafting a little bit, trying to squeeze in line as Likens and the Tidewiser car goes to the front. There we go, 10 to go for Likens. Rizal had one of the more vicious wrecks of the night as he literally did a backflip off of contact with another car. 2 by 2 by 2 by 3 back there with Condon was getting shuffled out. Likens, Gilbert, Joe Wells on the outside lane, Dusty White on the inside lane, and Pickle Simmer, and then Scott Wise, who's back on the lead lap. His car has been damaged most of the night. And he is there in the 6th position right now. Right on board with Wise there in a 31 car. That sun kind of starting to play peekaboo there off turn 4. Got to be very careful of that, because that thing could blind you. Of course, you don't have the Daytona super grandstands that they built just a few years back. As 8 to go, still side by side. You know, if you wonder if those cars in the back, are you kind of hanging out, waiting to see what transpires here, or are you just out of tires? How much is the clean air going to help these cars? How much is it going to hurt the cars? Ooh, and Wells gets into the outside wall. Got himself too high into the corner. Let's see if he can hold on in the draft. So a tough break for Joe. Gets into the outside wall. As here we go. Gilbert now inside of Likens. All these guys going to race hard, trying to use that draft and slingshot whatever they can get out of it. 6 to go. The 11 starting to come into play. Dusty White up there on that top side as they go around a lap car. I believe that's Johnson in the 93 car. Well, that might have been the run. Oh, look at Likens makes that move to the bottom. As here comes more now. And now caution, as Dylan Pickle Simmer in trouble inside wall in the 12 car. And that's going to bring the caution with 5 to go. Do we have enough time to get this race in before overtime? Oh, Wise gets into Pickle Simmer. Sends him almost up and over. For those who've never seen iRacing before, this car is actually built to do the whole blowover deal that you used to see a lot in these 90s races. That's why you saw the car lift up and then come back down. Of course, there were no rumble strips. Listen to me. The roof flaps back in the day on these cars. All right, so Dylan gets it going. Pits are open, I believe, this time by. We'll get 3 to go. And we should actually get a quickie. I'm thinking everybody should be able to come to pit road here. We'll see if we get 1 to go this time by. If not, then this race is going to overtime. Yep, no lights do not go off. So, yeah, it looks like we will go to overtime here. So, it'll only be by about a lap. As Greg Thompson stays out, Jason Branch, Eddie Roaldi stays out. Can anyone keep Gilbert out of victory lane, or even Joe Wells, the 2 winningest drivers here this season? There's a peek over here. We got 13 cars on the lead lap still. Unless Pickle, Simmer, Ward, Wise, and Melnick, or I should say those 3, could make it 16 cars, but they're going to have to get off pit road here in the next probably 15 seconds or so. All right, and it should be overtime this time by. So technically we'll get the green with 1 lap to go in this race, but we will get a full 2 laps to run. Thompson putting a new blue paint scheme on his car. Showed it off a little bit in Discord earlier. Question is, can he put it in victory lane here? Will it be Jason Branch who got the pole last week at iRacing, or 2 weeks ago at iRacing Super Speedway? Eddie Roardi, who has been involved in almost every caution tonight, somehow has that car running 3rd. Gilbert's won both stages. He's in 4th. Andrew Moore, of course, the pole sitter. He's been spun out once, at least. Hanging on to the top 10. Not sure what Macac is, but Thompson looking to put that car in victory lane. All right, pace car going to bring off turn 4. And we get 2 attempts at this. Who is going to go to victory lane at the Legacy Daytona International Speedway? Virtually on iRacing. As Thompson leads Branch to the green flag. Good restart there in an outside lane with Branch. Picklesimmer trying to make it 3 wide. But he has to get back in line as these cars get up to speed. Of course, 3 wide is very tricky with this track and these cars with the aerodynamic deficiencies. Ooh, you see the cars kind of getting loose there, so Gilbert had to go catch it a little bit. Bam, and the wall goes Condon. Can he get back to the checkered flag? Or to the white flag, I should say. They will. Final lap from Daytona. Here we go. Well, they did everything but wad him up there off turn 4 and did a good job of keeping it off each other. As around goes Moore. And big wreck in the back. Picklesimmer goes over. Joe Wells with heavy nose damage. Scott Wise involved as Branch and Gilbert on the outside. Thompson, and there goes Likens to the inside. As they race to the checkered flag, Jason Branch takes the 28th to victory lane. Wondering if Gilbert was going to make a move. Likens with a great slingshot, but unfortunately, I think that slowed up that inside line. And Branch was able to take the spot and the position. Jason Branch getting his first win of the season. And Eddie hit something again. Gilbert finishes second. Al Likens gets third. Greg Thompson fourth. Joe Wells fifth. See if we can go back to that. Turn 1 and 2 wreck as Branch continues to fire it down. Right there, you see the wreck ensue as the 77 gets turned, drift gets involved. There goes the 12 up and over. The 11 with damage. At this point, as that happens, it comes down to whoever can get to the checkered flag first. Melnick had a good view of that. There goes the 12 over, and there goes Melnick right on through. Says, "Excuse me, coming through." All as we celebrate and show you the final results here from race number 3 of this Masters of the Draft Series. And how about this? 3 races, 3 different winners. As Branch wins it over Gilbert, Al Likens 3rd, Greg Thompson, Joe Wells 5th. Shane Ward ends up 6th, so the top 3 will stay pretty tight in the points. Josh McKinney 7th, Quentin Clark, AJ Condon, and Eddie Rorardi finishing 10th. Andrew Moore finishing 11th, Scott Wise 12th, Dusty White, Tommy Rogers, and Tim Shiflett gets a 15th position finish. Dylan Picklesimmer 16th, Stephen Melnick, Daryl Johnson, Drift, and Brian Hayes, your top 20. Ryan Wilson, Evan Perry, Derek Jacobs, James Hudson, and Sam Taylor going to be the 25th and final finisher. Unfortunately, Brady Karowski went to the new Daytona track. Let me know how that goes. All right, let's talk to some drivers. Let's start with the Tidewiser mobile. The 25 of Al Liken. Of course, Al with a good top 3 finish there. As we bring him down, Al, congratulations there, as you've earned a nickname now with that car, by the way, the Tidewiser ride. As you've done a great job with that one, and man, I'm like, that's an interesting slingshot he just made to get that the first car in the inside lane, but unfortunately it just fell apart there at the end there for you. But what a great effort to still get a top 3 finish.
Yeah, I thought for a second that I may have pulled off the win, but it, like you said, it run out of steam coming to the start-finish line.
What a interesting race there. Had battles and yellows and stuff. You even had your own little backflip episode there mid-race. But what a wild one it was out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd got bumped earlier in the race with 24 and got down through the grass and come back on track. And it was a good recovery, so I'm happy with the finish. I like to got the win, but I want to apologize to Joe Wells. I got into him a little bit. I seen him wrecking, but that definitely wasn't intentional. But overall, it was a good night.
Obviously, a great finish when it was all over with, a great race altogether. And the one thing I've noticed from you, you are not afraid to make those moves when it's all over with. And I think your win's going to be coming pretty soon.
Oh, yeah, you got to be aggressive, but, you know, it's a fine line. Sometimes I get caught up in the messes, but tonight it seemed to work. I can go from the back to the front pretty easily.
Well, obviously, great job, and send some shouts whoever you like to.
Yeah, I'd like to thank my teammates, and Daryl Johnson.
Great job. Congratulations, bud.
All right, thank you.
Absolutely. Al Likens, the Tidewiser, finishing in the 3rd position here tonight. As Travis Gilbert falls up a spot short here tonight, but obviously continues his great run on the season as Travis finishes 2nd tonight, and will stretch that points lead out here just a little bit. Obviously, with the stage wins, really going to help him out here tonight. But Travis, a great win, almost a perfect night.
Yeah, almost. You know, you talk about them 2 stage wins. They put me in a position where I had to make a choice of lay it on the line and go for the win, or play it conservative and say, you know what, let's live to fight another day and extend that points lead. And you see what we chose to do there. So, really good night for the 22 at the track, GLM. I guess this is a Buick LeSabre, so I'm used to driving Fords. So.
Hey, nothing wrong with throwing a Buick out there on the track. I was talking about earlier tonight how the Buick got in trouble back in '81 for putting out a car that NASCAR said, hey, yeah, don't bring that back, please. It was just that good of a car. Was it that good of a car tonight, too?
Oh, man, I'll tell you what. When everybody asks, though, I always say it's the paint scheme. Joe Wells puts one heck of a paint scheme together, and it's worth 210. So if you want to go fast, hit up Joe Wells and get that GLM special paint scheme.
Well, obviously, the racing here tonight, you started in the 13th position, had to work your way up, and obviously had some cautions through and through, and you've even had to miss some, but somehow you found your way up front and kept your way up there.
Man, my qualifying, I literally woke up at 8:24. I set my alarm for 7:30. Somehow I must have missed my alarm. It's been I've been playing Farming Simulator 25.
Oh, jeez.
So, learning how to mod and stuff. So it's been create new farming equipment. So it's been a new adventure. So one thing about me is when I have a hobby or I got a passion, I go all in on it. I'm not one of them 50% people. So I had a horrible qualifying lap, absolutely underdrove the car. However, I always, since my mom, the very first time I ever drove at Repair Speedway in a mini stock, I qualified like crap. I said, Mom, you know how I am. I'll race better than I qualify, because once I'm in a group of cars, just that competition factor ramps up. So as soon as the green flag dropped, this thing just hunts the front, man. But again, I attribute that to the paint scheme Joe Wells puts together for Bet the Track. It's a fast paint scheme. Love driving it. Every week, I think this is a string of second place finishes, other than what I think I got fourth at Daytona with the lap car situation. So, however, I'll keep knocking out them top twos. It just keeps coming. These GLM cars are so fast, man. Love putting on a show for everybody.
You go into the final race of the season as the points leader, and finally an opportunity maybe to steal one from that 3 car that's won them both so far.
You know, honestly, when we got to the 87's, I didn't actually think I would win the block championship, just the way that these things drive and play out. However, I mean, the team is just really fast and really competitive. All these guys are getting better, and the 87's really showcase who can drive cars, and as you can see, you can get out front for a few car lengths, but then the field comes slingshotting right back past you. So this style of racing doesn't really allow you to have too much teamwork. However, you can work with each other, giving each other breaks here and there. So really surprised to be, at the top of the 87 block championship points. So really, really happy for that. So appreciate that.
Absolutely, man. Well, great job tonight. Send some shouts over like too.
Yeah, I apologize to Shane Ward there when Ryan Wilson was pitting. He got loose. He was getting into him, and I had our teammate Josh McKinney into our outside, and I got into him. And luckily, he didn't get no damage and stuff, and he recovered for a good finish. So happy for him. The whole GLM Lightning Motors and Motorsports team. You got Joe Wells, who creates these bad, fast race cars. I appreciate him. Then you got Shane Ward. He's fast. He had good qualifying week in and week out, especially in these 87s. Eddie, he's really getting faster. Really happy to help him, and he's becoming a good teammate and able to help work with us in the draft and on team strategy. Josh, he just came over. Josh McKinney's fast, as you can see. He left quite a bit of laps, and he worked with us there too. And then AJ Condon, he's getting there, working with him, and it's fun having all them as a teammate. And then, there's you guys at Captain eSports Network. There's Warren Wise, Scott Wise, everybody who comes and races and puts money in. And with that being said, all the veterans, the Vet the Track organization, all the people out there, it's the holiday season. A lot of people out there struggling with PTSD, depression. I'm not gonna name my brother's name. However, he's a Navy veteran, and he just got his water shut off today. So times are out. Yeah, it's struggling out there. So I just pray for a better economy through the holidays, and that if you can make a difference in people's lives, it says battling PTSD one lap at a time for me, because I'm fighting for them. That's why we come out here and put on a good show. I'm determined. I have a passion because I want to give them something to fight for, because 22 of them are killing themselves a day, unfortunately, and that's why we raced the number 22, is to give tribute to them guys. I can't salute them at every one of their funerals, but I can salute them on the racetrack every time it goes to the front. And has good finishes, and we get to represent Vet the Track, Jim Whittam, and everybody who's battling something. A lot of times, I know that the people give up their battle and the holiday struggles, so just reach out, be good to people, be kind. I know that I got friends that are battling cancer and recovering, so God bless Terry and Tweet Friend and their whole family, and my family too. So with that, God, you never know when you're gonna get another interview, so God bless everybody during the holidays and stuff. So appreciate you guys.
Absolutely, man. Well, great job tonight, and congrats on your second place finish.
Appreciate you. Thank you, Chris.
Yes, sir. Travis Gilbert, the second place finish here tonight, and he mentioned Vet to Track. Of course, they are the sponsor of the Victory Lane interview That's the stage winner. Wise Guy Racing Graphics sponsor of that. But Bet the Track has mentioned the Victory Lane interview, and this is going to be an interesting interview to talk to. Jason Branch goes to Victory Lane here tonight as he scores the win here at Daytona, the old Daytona, after getting a pole last week at iRacing Super Speedway. And the first question I have to ask is, there's a group chat that you and I are a part of. I can't help but wonder, are any of them going to believe this just happened?
Probably not. You know, that group chat we talk about is, a lot of those guys haven't been racing in a while. A couple, there's one guy that's going through some medical issues
Right.
that, I hope he gets a little better. But, other than that, I thought I'd come over here and run with these guys. And I think that's the first one I finished.
You picked the right time to finish.
Yeah, I know.
Well,
I was telling my teammate, Greg, as we were coming to the line with one to go, and we were racing for a spot in the All-Star race. So now I don't have to worry about racing my way in.
Yeah, talk about those last couple laps. Obviously, you had the 22 get up there in your back bumper, and obviously they all piled it up, and it turned into a 2-on-2 tandem pretty much to come to the checkered flag.
Yeah, I knew everyone behind me had tires. It was going to be a green-white checkered. I couldn't pit. I would have came out 10th from the pit. So I rolled the dice, gambled. Me and Greg both didn't have tires. So I tried to pin him down as much as I could without wrecking him. And coming out of the corner, coming to the white flag, Travis hit me in the back, and I got a little loose and almost took out Greg and the whole field. But yeah, I definitely had to mirror drive with Travis coming, make the car as wide as I could, and then I think Al getting underneath Greg really sealed the deal for me. So thank you, Al, and sorry, Greg, but hey, we had to put this Hardy's car in victory lane one time, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And you did a great job keeping it safe and clean here throughout this evening. But gotta be a pretty good feeling to come into a series like this and get yourself a victory, especially in an old school car like this.
Oh man, this has got to be the most challenging track with these cars. I'm gonna be sore tomorrow. My arm's gonna be wore out.
Jello.
Yeah. I turned the first feedback down a little bit, but there's not a spot on this track where the wheel's not trying to go left and right on you. It's just a horrible track, and I can see why they redid it. But like I said, I thought with the old tires I was gonna wash up a little bit and Travis was gonna be able to split us. But I just tried to keep it as low as I could, and the old Hardy's Ford Thunderbird came out victorious. So, yeah,
Making Cale Yarborough proud. Way to go! Great job.
that's right.
And send some shout outs to everybody too.
Shout out to my teammates Scott, Greg, Drift, all the guys in that aforementioned chat that we don't talk about in here, but
They're an incident number.
That's right. I do hope I will name Casey by name, though. I do hope he does get better and can get back on the track with us. We're just waiting for him to get back. So make the team whole again, and I can stop privateering on other teams. So
Ain't nothing wrong with that, man. Well, hey, great job. Congratulations. Go celebrate.
hey, thanks.
Absolutely.
Hopefully I'll talk to you next week too.
That sounds good. I like the idea. Jason Branch, the winner here tonight at the Legacy Daytona International Speedway. Congratulations to him on going to victory lane here tonight, as he'll go and celebrate with the guys. And we're going to take a minute here to say thanks to Vet the Track for, of course, sponsoring this interview, of course, with Jason Branch, the winner here tonight, and not to mention the Vet the Track Masters of the Draft Series. You're hearing the ping because, yep, I'm uploading the unofficial point standings. Of course, there'll be some reviews and types of penalties coming out here this week, if there are any. But otherwise, we have the unofficial point standings as we go to the final race of this 4 races, the group of 4 of this stack of races, or whatever we're going to call them. I had the term, but I'm getting tired, and yeah, we'll go from there. Here's our 87 points. Travis Gilbert leads by 35 now, officially over Joe Wells. So a pretty nice lead with those 2 stage wins here tonight. And of course, he's got that win. But Wells has struggled at Talladega here these first 2 legs. So we'll see how it goes. Shane and Ward there in third. Quentin Clark, Greg Thompson, your top 5. Branch, Moore, Rawadi, Dylan Pickle, Simmer, and Drift there, your top 10 in the 87 points, which again will come down to next week at Talladega. Our overall point standings as we go into the Talladega race. Joe Wells now 14 up on Travis Gilbert. Shane Ward holds steady right there to around 270 or so. 401 back to Quentin Clark, but again, a lot of points to be gained. That 401 looks like a lot right now, but anything can happen here these next few weeks, and hey, these guys can get back in it. So we still got, plenty of races. Let's see, 4, 8, 12, 13 races still to go. So as we're just about to the halfway point in the season already. So it's still plenty to go. Team points looks like are not updated yet. So, but I'm going to go ahead and throw a spoiler out there. G Lightning Motors probably leading the points still on the team side. Not sure what gives that away. But big shout out to everybody for a fun race here tonight. Obviously, Masters of the Draft Series presented by Bet to Track. Big shout out to those guys. Take a look at the Hard Charger Award presented by Superior Templating. And it is Joe Wells by default. 19 tonight goes up positions. He ends up getting that by 7 over Josh McKinney with 12 and a 3-way tie for 11. So Joe Wells, congratulations on the Superior Templating Hard Charger Award in that 3-car. Hello there. So, yeah, that's going to do it. So, appreciate Lauren and Scott Wise for allowing me to be a part of the broadcast as always. And to the drivers for putting on a good show here tonight. All the viewers for hanging out again tonight. Appreciate you coming back. Again, there's a link in there for those who might be interested in getting a Christmas card for a friend or a loved one. Want to send it out to them, you can click on the link there in chat. That'll send you over to the page I have for well, I already got this store set up, but I'm rearranging things and doing a lot of rearranging, I guess. As again, I'm losing words. It's like every second I get more and more tired, the words just fall out of my head, and I don't have vocabulary anymore. So that's my word to go, basically, when it's over with. So if you're interested in purchasing a Christmas card, it's just generic and for you to have, and it saves you a trip to that store to go get yourself a card when it's all over with. So appreciate all the viewers as always. Appreciate everybody for being a part of this Tuesday night. We're back tomorrow night with some more racing. I think we're in Las Vegas tomorrow night. I have to be exact, but I'm not quite sure. So hopefully we'll see you then. But remember, this isn't just a game. It's iRacing. See you.
This copyrighted broadcast may not be reproduced, reused, retransmitted in any form without the authorized written consent of Captain eSports Network. Captain would like to thank all of his loyal fans for your continued support, and he hopes you enjoyed today's broadcast.
special presentation. From the Captain eSports Network.